The deep blackness of space stretched out before the human exploration vessel horizon. Captain Eric Mitchell sat in his command chair, watching the stars through the main view screen. "Captain, we're picking up a distress signal," said Officer Penny Wright, her eyes fixed on her screen. "It's coming from Sector 7. Captain Mitchell leaned forward. "Any details?" "It's not human, sir. The signal pattern matches nothing in our database." The captain nodded. "Change course. Let's check it out." The horizon turned smoothly toward the source of the signal. As they got closer, they saw a ship drifting in space. Its strange design made it clear it wasn't human-made. Parts of the ship were damaged, with pieces floating nearby. "Life signs?" asked the captain. "Yes, sir. Several aboard, but their readings are weak," replied the ship's doctor, Alan Garcia. Captain Mitchell stood up. "We're going to help them. Prepare a rescue team." In the equipment room, Jack Bennett, the ship's security chief, put on his spacesuit. Jack was tall and strong, with short brown hair and serious eyes. As a former Special Forces soldier, he was used to dangerous missions. "Everyone ready?" Jack asked his team of 4 security officers. They all nodded. "Remember, we don't know who or what is on that ship. Stay alert, but we're there to help," Jack said. The team boarded a small shuttle and flew to the alien ship. They cut through a damaged door and entered. Inside, the air was thin but breathable. They removed their helmets. "Strange design," said Officer Kelly Diaz, looking at the curved walls and odd symbols. Jack checked his scanner. "Life signs this way." They moved carefully through the damaged ship. The lights flickered, and strange smells filled the air. Soon they reached what looked like a control room. Several alien bodies lay on the floor. They were tall and slender, with bluish skin and 4-fingered hands. One alien wore different clothes than the others, richer, with symbols that might mean importance or rank. This one was a female, based on the ship's scanner readings. "This one's still alive," Jack said, kneeling beside her. "The others are gone." The alien female had a wound on her head. Jack carefully lifted her in his arms. She was lighter than she looked, despite being almost as tall as him. "There are 3 more survivors in the next room," reported Kelly. "Get them." "I'll take this one back to our ship," Jack said. As Jack carried the alien back to the shuttle, her eyes suddenly opened. They were large and purple, with no whites. She looked at Jack with surprise, then said something in a musical language he couldn't understand. Then she passed out again. Back on the horizon, Dr. Garcia worked quickly in the medical bay to treat the aliens. "This one seems important," Jack told the doctor, pointing to the female he had carried. "Based on her clothes and how the others reacted when they woke up briefly." Captain Mitchell arrived in the medical bay. "What's their status?" "Stable," said the doctor. "Their biology is different from ours, but similar enough that our basic treatments are helping." Suddenly, the female alien woke up again. She sat up quickly and looked around with alert eyes. When she saw Jack standing near the door, she stared at him with great interest. One of the other aliens, who had woken up earlier, hurried to her side and bowed. He spoke urgently in their language. "Our translator is starting to work on their language," said Officer Lisa Carter, the ship's diplomat. "It seems they're called the Kasheri, and if I'm understanding correctly, this female is Princess Zoderleth of something called the Kasheri Empire." The princess kept looking at Jack. She said something to him directly. Lisa listened to the translation in her earpiece, then looked surprised. She turned to Jack. "She wants to know your name. She seems very interested in you. She said you carried her to safety with strength and honor worthy of a royal guard." Jack nodded politely to the princess. "My name is Jack Bennett. Tell her I was just doing my job." When Lisa translated this, the princess smiled in a way that somehow seemed both alien and familiar. She spoke again, this time with determination in her voice. Lisa listened, then looked uncomfortable. "What did she say?" asked Captain Mitchell. Lisa cleared her throat. She said she's never seen a species like ours before, and she finds Jack fascinating. 3 days passed since the rescue of Princess Zyrlev and her guards. The Horizon was now heading to Diplomatic Station 12, the nearest place where proper talks between humans and Kasheri could happen. Princess Zyrlev quickly regained her strength. She spent much of her time learning about humans through the ship's computer system, which Officer Lisa Carter had set up for her. The princess is asking a lot of questions about human military and warriors, Lisa told Captain Mitchell during their morning meeting. Especially about Jack. Captain Mitchell frowned. What kind of questions? His fighting skills, his background, his status among humans. She seems very impressed that he was part of Earth's Special Forces. Jack entered the meeting room. Sorry I'm late, Captain. We were just talking about you, said the captain. Our royal guest seems very interested in you. Jack looked uncomfortable. I noticed. She watches me when I'm in the same room. It's strange. Lisa nodded. The translator is working better now. From what I can tell, the Kasheri are a warrior society. They value strength and courage above all else. That explains a few things, Jack said. Later that day, Jack was working in the security office when there was a knock at the door. It was Princess Zyrlev, with one of her guards and Lisa. The princess wanted to see you, Lisa explained. Jack stood up politely. Hello, Your Highness. The princess was tall and elegant. Her blue skin seemed to shimmer slightly under the ship's lights. She spoke, and Lisa translated. The princess says she has been studying human culture. She finds it fascinating but strange. She wants to know about your mating customs. Jack nearly choked. Excuse me. Lisa looked equally uncomfortable. I tried to explain that it's a personal topic for humans, but she insists. The princess spoke again, her purple eyes fixed on Jack. Lisa listened, then said, she says in Kasheri culture, the strongest females choose the strongest males as mates. It's considered an honor. Before Jack could respond, the princess made a formal gesture with her hands and spoke in a clear, commanding voice. Her guard looked shocked. The other Kasheri guard in the room dropped to one knee. Lisa's eyes went wide. Oh, this is unexpected. What did she say? Jack asked. She just declared, formally, that she wants you as her mate. Jack stared at the princess. That's flattering, but explained to her that humans don't do things that way. As Lisa tried to translate, the princess's guard stood up and said something urgently to her. The princess answered sharply. What's happening? Jack asked. Lisa listened to the translation in her earpiece. The guard is telling her that choosing an alien as a royal mate is unheard of. She's saying that she's the princess and can choose whoever she wants. The argument between the princess and her guard grew heated. Captain Mitchell arrived, drawn by the noise. What's going on here? He demanded. Sir, the princess has declared she wants me as her mate, Jack explained. It's causing some disagreement among her people. The captain looked stunned. Lisa explained to the princess that humans have different customs. Marriage or mating is a personal choice for us, not a royal command. Lisa tried to explain, but the princess seemed confused by the concept. She spoke again, this time directly to the captain. She says she understands that humans are different, Lisa translated, but she still wants Jack. She says he showed extraordinary courage and strength during the rescue, qualities highly valued by the Kasheri royal family. Captain Mitchell sighed. This could become a diplomatic problem. Tell her we'll discuss it more at the station with proper diplomats present. The princess nodded, but before leaving, she looked at Jack once more and said something in a softer voice. What was that? Jack asked after she left. Lisa looked uncomfortable again. She said you should feel honored. The last person who refused a royal mating request was executed. Jack stared at the doorway where the princess had been. Great, just great. Captain Mitchell put a hand on Jack's shoulder. Don't worry, we won't let it come to that. But we need to handle this carefully. The Kashari Empire sounds powerful, and we don't want to create an interspecies incident. Jack nodded slowly. Understood, sir. But for the record, I didn't sign up for this. None of us did, said the captain. Welcome to deep space exploration. 2 days later, the Horizon arrived at Diplomatic Station 12. The large space station served as a meeting point for different species. Captain Mitchell had sent a message ahead explaining their unusual situation. Ambassador Karen Russell was waiting when they docked. She was a tall woman with gray hair and a serious face. She greeted Captain Mitchell with a firm handshake. Captain, this is quite a situation you've brought us, she said. It wasn't intentional, I assure you, replied the captain. They walked to the main meeting room. Jack followed behind them, feeling nervous. He had never been the center of a diplomatic issue before. Princess Zyrleth and her guards arrived shortly after, escorted by Lisa. The princess wore formal clothes now, a blue and silver outfit that made her look even more regal. Ambassador Russell bowed slightly. Welcome, Your Highness. I'm Ambassador Karen Russell from Earth. When the translator conveyed her words, the princess nodded but seemed more interested in looking at Jack. Let's discuss this matter, said the ambassador, gesturing to the large table. Everyone sat down. The princess's chief guard, who they had learned was named Krell, spoke first. Our princess has chosen your warrior as her potential mate. Lisa translated. This is a great honor in our culture. Ambassador Russell nodded. We understand and appreciate the honor. However, in human culture, such bonds are formed by mutual agreement, not by selection. When this was translated, the princess frowned. She spoke directly to Jack. What does your heart say, warrior? Do you find me unworthy? Lisa translated. Jack shifted uncomfortably. It's not a question of worth, Your Highness. Humans need time to form such bonds. We don't make these decisions so quickly. The princess considered this. Then she stood up, her posture formal and proud. She made a declaration in her language that caused her guards to stand at attention. The princess has invoked the right of challenge, Krell explained through the translator. It is our oldest tradition when seeking a worthy mate. What does that mean exactly? Asked Captain Mitchell. The chosen one must face 3 trials to prove their worth, said Krell. If they succeed, they are proven worthy to be the princess's mate. Jack shook his head. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I can't agree to this. Ambassador Russell leaned toward him. Jack, we need more information before we refuse. She turned to Krell. What happens if he refuses the challenge? The answer was translated clearly. To refuse the challenge is to say the princess has poor judgment. It is a grave insult to her and the entire Kashari Empire. Ambassador Russell looked worried. And how would the Empire view such an insult? It would end all possibility of peaceful relations between our peoples, said Krell. The room fell silent. Captain Mitchell and Ambassador Russell exchanged concerned looks. May I have a word with my people? Ambassador Russell asked. When the Kashari stepped away, she gathered the humans in a corner. This is a difficult position, she said quietly. We know very little about the Kashari Empire, but our initial scans of their ships suggest they're far more advanced than us. We can't risk making enemies of them. So you want me to agree to become her mate? Jack asked in disbelief. No, said the ambassador. Just agree to the challenge for now. We'll find a diplomatic solution before it comes to that. Jack looked at Captain Mitchell, whom nodded. It's important, Jack, for all of humanity. Jack sighed deeply. Fine. I'll do the challenge, but I'm not becoming anyone's mate. They returned to the table. Jack stepped forward. I accept the challenge, he said. The princess smiled when this was translated. She approached Jack and touched his shoulder in a formal gesture. The trials will begin tomorrow. Lisa translated the princess's words. Prepare yourself, human warrior. They were designed to test the limits of Kashari strength and courage. No alien has ever attempted them. As she walked away, Jack called after her. What exactly are these trials? The princess turned. Combat, strategy, and survival, came the translation. Each could mean death for the unprepared. When she left, Captain Mitchell put a hand on Jack's shoulder. "What have we gotten you into?" Jack watched the door where the princess had exited. "I guess I'll find out tomorrow." The next morning, Jack was taken to the HFY royal ship that had arrived during the night. It was much larger than the damaged vessel they had found. Its design was both beautiful and dangerous looking, with sharp edges and flowing curves. Inside, the ship was filled with HFY warriors, all taller and stronger looking than those Jack had met so far. They watched him with curious eyes as he was led to a large round room. Princess Zyrleth sat on a raised platform at one end. She wore armor now, silver and blue, that made her look like a warrior herself. The first trial is combat prowess. Lisa, translated as Krell, explained the rules. You must fight 3 HFY warriors in sequence. You do not need to win, only show worthy skill. Jack nodded. His special forces training had prepared him for many things, but fighting aliens wasn't one of them. A tall HFY warrior stepped forward. He carried a staff made of some shining metal. "Begin," called the princess. The warrior attacked immediately, moving faster than Jack expected. Jack dodged the first swing, but the second caught him on the shoulder. The pain was sharp, but Jack stayed focused. He watched the warrior's movements carefully. After blocking another attack, Jack noticed a pattern. The HFY was strong but predictable. When the warrior swung again, Jack was ready. He ducked under the staff and moved inside the HFY's reach. Using the alien's momentum against him, Jack flipped him to the ground. The room went silent. Then Princess Zyrleth smiled and nodded. The second and third warriors were harder to beat. Jack took several hits, but he managed to fight well enough to earn nods of respect from the watching HFY. After the combat, Jack was given a short rest before the second trial. The next is strategic thinking. Lisa translated. You must solve a battle puzzle. Jack was led to a table with a 3-dimensional display showing small ships. It looked like a complex version of chess. You must find a way for the smaller force to defeat the larger one, explained Krell. Jack studied the display. The ships moved in ways he didn't expect, following strange rules. But after watching for a while, he began to understand. The HFY seemed to value direct attacks and strength in numbers. Jack tried a different approach. He positioned his ships to use a nearby asteroid field as cover, then set up an ambush rather than a direct attack. When he activated his solution, the simulation played out. His smaller fleet defeated the larger one by using the environment and surprise tactics. Princess Zyrleth leaned forward with interest as she watched. When the simulation ended, she spoke to her advisors. She is impressed. Lisa translated. She says humans think differently than HFY. The final trial was called Endurance. Jack was placed in a sealed room where the temperature and air quality changed constantly. Sometimes it was freezing, then suddenly hot. Sometimes the air became thin and hard to breathe. This tests your body's ability to adapt, Krell had explained. You must survive for 2 hours. It was painful and exhausting, but Jack's training had included survival in extreme conditions. He controlled his breathing, conserved energy when possible, and kept moving when necessary to maintain body temperature. When the 2 hours ended, the door opened. Jack walked out tired but standing tall. The watching HFY murmured among themselves. Princess Zyrleth approached him directly this time. She spoke, and for once Jack could understand her without translation. Her words had been practiced in English. You have completed all trials, human warrior. No alien has done this before. Jack nodded, too tired to say much. What happens now? The princess smiled. Now we talk. Alone. As they walked away together, Jack noticed the surprised looks from both humans and HFY. Whatever was happening, it wasn't what anyone had expected. Princess Zyrleth led Jack through the corridors of her ship. HFY warriors bowed as they passed. She took him to a room with large windows showing the stars outside. The room was beautiful, with strange plants and soft lighting. "Please sit," she said in careful English. Jack could tell she had been practicing. They sat at a small table, facing each other. For a moment, they were silent. "You did well in the trials," she said finally. "Better than any Kasheri expected." "Thank you," Jack replied. "But I still don't understand why you chose me as your mate." The princess was about to answer when a loud alarm sounded throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "What's happening?" Jack asked. The princess stood quickly. "Danger." A Kasheri officer rushed into the room. He spoke rapidly to the princess in their language. Her face showed concern as she listened. "We are under attack," she told Jack. "Enemy ships. We must." Before she could finish, a loud explosion rocked the ship. The lights went out, then emergency lighting came on, casting everything in a red glow. "Come," she said, grabbing Jack's arm. "We must reach the command center." They ran through the corridors, passing Kasheri crew members rushing to their stations. Another explosion hit, stronger than the first. Jack and the princess were thrown against a wall. "Who's attacking?" Jack asked as they got back to their feet. "The Voral faction," she explained as they continued running. "They oppose my family's rule. They want to take control of our empire." They turned a corner and found their path blocked by debris from the ceiling. Smoke filled the corridor ahead. "This way," the princess said, pulling him down a different hall. They reached a small room with escape pods. As they entered, 3 Kasheri wearing different uniforms appeared at the other end of the corridor. They carried weapons. "Voral soldiers," the princess whispered. "They must have boarded the ship." The enemy soldiers saw them and shouted. They raised their weapons. "Get in." Jack pushed the princess into the nearest escape pod and jumped in after her. He hit the launch button just as the soldiers fired. The pod shot away from the ship with a violent jerk. Through the pod's window, they watched the battle. Several ships fired on the royal vessel. Parts of it were already damaged and burning. "Your people," Jack started. "They will fight well," the princess said, her voice tight with worry. But the attack was a surprise. We were not ready. The small pod drifted away from the battle. Inside, it was cramped. Jack and the princess sat close together in the 2 small seats. "Now we wait," she said. "The pod's signal will bring help, but it may take time." Jack nodded. They sat in silence for a while, watching the distant battle. "You asked why I chose you," the princess said suddenly. "I will tell you now. It is not only because you are a strong warrior." Jack turned to look at her. Her purple eyes were serious. "My people are dying," she said simply. "Not in battle, but slowly from within." "What do you mean?" "For many generations, the royal bloodline has grown weaker. Each child born is less healthy than their parents. Our scientists say we need new blood." "New." She searched for the word, "genes." Jack stared at her. "And you think humans are compatible with your species?" The princess nodded. "Our scientists studied your people secretly for years. Of all species we have found, humans are the most likely match. When I saw you, strong and clever, I knew you would be perfect." She touched his hand gently. "But now I have another reason too. I have seen your courage and your kindness. These are rare qualities, even among my people." Jack didn't know what to say. The princess was watching him closely. "You are not just a solution to our problem," she said. "You are someone I have come to admire." Before Jack could respond, the pod's communication system crackled to life. A voice called out in Kasheri. "Help is coming," the princess said. "Both our peoples are looking for us." Jack looked out at the stars. This mission had become much more complicated than he ever imagined. As Jack and Princess Zyrleth waited in the escape pod, they talked more openly than before. The danger had broken down some walls between them. "Your people have been watching humans for years?" Jack asked. The princess nodded. "We discovered Earth 50 years ago. We watched from a distance, learning your languages, studying your biology. Why didn't you make contact? Our laws forbid contact with species that haven't reached a certain level of space travel, she explained. But we have been waiting. Humans develop quickly. Jack thought about this. So you plan to use humans to solve your genetic problems all along. The princess looked away. It sounds cold when you say it that way. But yes, that was the plan. And what about what humans want? Did you think about that? She turned back to him. In our culture, being chosen by royalty is the highest honor. I did not understand that humans would see it differently. Jack sighed. They were from such different worlds. Yet he found himself respecting her honesty. Tell me more about your people, he said. For the next hour, they exchanged stories about their worlds. The princess spoke of Kasheri history, their achievements in science and art, their strict honor code. Jack told her about Earth's diverse cultures, music, sports, and the way humans valued personal choice. Freedom to choose is very important to humans, Jack explained, even more than strength or power. This is strange to me, the princess admitted. In our world, duty comes first, especially for royalty. But don't you ever wish you could choose your own path? The princess was quiet for a moment. Sometimes, she said finally, but I was born to serve my people. The pod's communication system beeped again. A voice came through, speaking English this time. Jack, are you there? This is Captain Mitchell. Jack pressed the response button. I'm here, Captain, with the princess. We're both fine. Good to hear your voice. We've coordinated with the Royal Guard. We'll have you both back safe soon. As they waited for rescue, Jack thought deeply about everything he had learned. He had an idea forming. Princess, he said, I have a suggestion. A different kind of arrangement than what you proposed. She looked at him curiously. What arrangement? Instead of me becoming your mate, what if we started a broader cooperation between our peoples? A scientific exchange where willing humans could help with your genetic research. The princess frowned. But tradition says. Traditions can change, Jack interrupted gently. They have to, sometimes, to save what's important. Our royal bloodline could still be saved, Jack said, but through a partnership between our species, not just between you and me. The princess was quiet, thinking. My advisors would resist such a change. Change is always hard, Jack agreed, but sometimes necessary. Before they could discuss further, the pod shook slightly. Through the window, they saw a shuttle approaching. It was from the horizon. Looks like our ride is here, Jack said. The princess touched his arm. I will consider your suggestion, Jack Bennett. It is unusual, but so are you. The shuttle docked with their pod. The door opened to reveal Captain Mitchell and a team of Kasheri royal guards led by Krell. Both sides looked relieved to find the princess and Jack safe. Your Highness, Krell bowed. We feared the worst. The ship was badly damaged, but we defeated the Voral attackers. Good work, Krell, the princess said. And now, I have much to discuss with you and my advisors. She looked at Jack. And with our human friends. As they boarded the shuttle, Jack caught Captain Mitchell's questioning look. It's a long story, sir, Jack said, but I think we might have found a way forward that works for everyone. The princess walked beside him, her head held high. For the first time, Jack saw her not just as an alien royal, but as a leader facing difficult choices for her people, and he respected her for it. 6 months passed since the rescue from the escape pod. In a large, beautiful hall on Earth, humans and Kasheri gathered for an important ceremony. The room was decorated with symbols from both worlds, Earth plants and Kasheri art pieces placed side by side. Jack stood near the front of the hall, wearing a formal uniform with new symbols on the shoulders. He watched as Princess Zyrleth entered. She wore a magnificent blue and silver dress that combined Kasheri royal style with some Earth design elements. The crowd stood as she walked down the center aisle. Never thought we'd end up here, Captain Mitchell said quietly, standing next to Jack. Me neither, Jack admitted. The past 6 months had been busy. After their rescue, Princess Lyerleth had taken Jack's suggestion to her royal council. There had been arguments and resistance, but in the end, the princess had shown strong leadership. She convinced her people that change was necessary for survival. Ambassador Russell stepped up to a podium in the center of the hall. Princess Lyerleth joined her there. Together, they activated a display that showed the text of a new treaty between Earth and the Kashari Empire. Today marks the beginning of the Human Kashari Collaborative Council, Ambassador Russell announced. A new chapter in the story of both our peoples. Jack remembered the difficult negotiations that had led to this moment. Earth scientists had been excited about the advanced Kashari technology. Kashari medical experts had been amazed by human genetic diversity. Both sides had things to offer each other. Princess Lyerleth spoke next. Her English had improved greatly. For generations, my people have believed that strength comes from standing alone, she said. We were wrong. True strength comes from standing together. She looked directly at Jack as she spoke. He nodded slightly in recognition. After the main ceremony, Jack and the princess walked together in a garden outside the hall. The genetic research program is going well, she said. Already, 20 human volunteers have joined. Our scientists say there is hope for my people. I'm glad, Jack said. And the title they gave me. Honored friend to the Royal House of Kashar. That's quite something. The princess smiled. It is a new title we created. You are the first to hold it. They stopped by a small fountain. Earth water mixed with Kashari light technology, creating beautiful patterns. You know, Jack said, when you first declared you wanted me as your mate, I thought it was the strangest thing that ever happened to me. And now? She asked. Now I think it might be the most important thing. Not the mate part, but what came from it. This alliance could change everything for both our peoples. The princess nodded. In our old stories, great changes often begin with unexpected events. From the hall behind them came the sounds of humans and Kashari talking, sharing ideas, starting to work together. Jack could see Officer Lisa Carter explaining something to a group of Kashari, while nearby, a Kashari scientist showed a human team how to use an advanced scanner. My father, the Emperor, will visit Earth next month, the princess said. He was against this alliance at first, but now he is curious. I look forward to meeting him, Jack replied. He will judge you harshly, she warned. But I think you will impress him, as you impressed me. A young Kashari aide approached them and bowed. Your Highness, the council is ready to begin its first session. The princess nodded. We are coming. She turned to Jack. Ready to make history, Jack Bennett. Jack smiled. Lead the way, princess. Together, they walked back toward the hall. Two people from different worlds who had found a new path forward, not as mates, but as something equally important. Allies and friends who had changed the future for both their species.